Well, good morning, everyone. It is Monday, December the 17th, and I know we're getting all ready for the Christmas holiday season. Everybody's in a mad rush to wrap their presents, buy stuff from Amazon, go to Target, wherever it is that you generally shop. I would hope that this time of year, one of the things that you want to do is to take the time to reflect on how far we've come and how far we need to go. I'm hopping on here this morning to do a really quick Facebook Live about a really breaking news story that just came out yesterday. You know, for a very long time, I've been saying, what is in those syringes? What's coming through those needles? What are in those little vials of vaccine solution that we don't know about? What things are not labeled? What are they sneaking in there? There has to be something that is causing such a travesty to so many children and adults. I've often thought about setting up a GoFundMe campaign, doing all kinds of things to try to raise somewhere around $50,000 to be able to go to a lab and have these vials tested. Well, guess what? It's happening, and it's happening in Italy. Remember a few months ago, I think it was over the summer, maybe even last fall, when the Italian government passed this egregious law saying that suddenly all children in Italy were going to be required to have 11 vaccines in order to attend public school. If you remember seeing the pictures, there were massive campaigns and marches and tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people marching in the street in various cities. And I remember saying to myself, we can't get Americans off their butt and away from their phones long enough to do anything. How did the Italians get, hundreds of thousands of people in the street? Well, they did it. And not only did they do it, they took it to the ballot box and they voted out their government. They voted out the people that were forcing them to poison their children in exchange for a public education. Well, now there's the next step. that whole new government was formed. It's now called #Government of Change in Italy. And they are building up a big Twitter following, in Italian, of course, but you can use Google Translate to follow them and see what's going on. And then on December the 4th, just a couple of weeks ago, the new Italian government tossed out all 30 members of their health policy advisory board, saying we need fresh blood, new brains. We need people really looking at this vaccine issue from another perspective. I highly suspect that many of the people that were behind this have vaccine-injured children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews, and they just see the travesty behind this whole vaccination issue, and they're not going to stand up for it. There's a scientific research group called Corvelva, and on December the 13th, they received 10,000 euros, which is about a little over $11,000, from an Italian National Order of Biologists to start testing those vials of vaccines. And yesterday, they released their first report. They tested a vaccine called Infinrix Hexa. Now, one thing you can always know, just as a crib sheet for you, anytime you see a vaccine that ends in the letters RIX, Infinrix, Pediarix, Shingrix, any of those sorts of vaccines, the RIX is a trademark name for GlaxoSmithKline. And almost all of those are nasty grams, man. They have usually more toxic adjuvants, more ingredients than their counterparts done by Santa Fe Pasteur, Aventis, or Merck. So I always recommend that to stay away from the GlaxoSmithKline, the RIX vaccines. And it just so happens that this group, Corvelva is just released their first study on Infinrix Hexa, which is a 6-in-1 vaccine that's used internationally. It's really not used here in the United States, but it's used in Europe and all around the world because it's 6 vaccines all in once. It's DPT, polio, which is 3 strains of viruses, hepatitis B, and it also uses Haemophilus influenza B as a carrier molecule. So even though that's not specifically listed, there's really 7 vaccines in this nasty vaccine. And what Corvelva found, which was shocking, was that they found none of those antigens. They didn't find diphtheria, tetanus, or pertussis toxoid. They didn't find any traces of hep B surface antigen. And they didn't find any of the polio viruses. Instead, so what that means is that if you believe in vaccines and you believe that you get injected and you get this antibody that's supposed to protect you, if that shot contained none of the antigens to develop a protective antibody, ostensibly to protect you, then it is 100% all risk and absolutely zero benefit. But it's worse than that. They went on to say that not only did they not find any of the attributed vaccine antigens, they found traces of 65 chemical cross-contaminants that were in the machinery from making other vaccines. They found chemical toxins that they couldn't even identify. They found unrecognizable macromolecules, and they found various particles, proteins, foreign proteins of other bacteria that are either there from contamination or from not cleaning their equipment well enough before they made the next vaccine. This is one of the most egregious findings, and I really hope that Corvelva continues to do what they're doing, and their plan is to test every single vaccine that's on the market and release this type of report. Because, and what I'm thinking is how horrible this vaccine is, that it provides no benefit and all risk. Some of you may remember that back in 2009, there was a report that came from a leaked GlaxoSmithKline report from, I believe it was from an inside employee, that said there were 36 children that had died and more than 1,700 that had been injured in an international clinical trial from this Infanrix Hexa, the 6-in-1 vaccine. So perhaps now we are doing finding a recompense for those children internationally. So, and then I wrote an article back, back in 2017. There were two Italian researchers. It was a husband and wife team. Their last name is Gatti, G-A-T-T-I, that they found an incredible array of toxic chemicals, aluminum, silica, titanium, very large toxic molecules that they found. And when they released their study, the Italian government charged into their lab, absconded with all their equipment, and shut them down. I hope that Corvelva has a larger support than that. I mean, the Gattis were kicked out of the business. They actually left, I believe they actually left the country because they couldn't operate their lab anymore. But that was before all of these changes started. So I wrote an article in 2017 that the link, you'll find it in on this blog post, that goes back and shows all of, it's a link to the article that shows all of the stuff that the Gatti study found inside of these toxic vaccines that they found. So I'm hoping that this will start to change the world market. I'm hoping that Corvelva will get more donations, will get more support, not only from Italy, but from Germany and England and the UK and maybe even America, to test more of these vaccines. Because as they start releasing these results, it's my opinion that now we have strong legal grounds, and there's a group that I'm working with out of the Isle of Man in the UK that is developing an incredible plan to take this data and use it to go forward. And it's just in time, because tomorrow I'm going to do a Facebook Live about what's happening in Argentina and what they're trying to do in the EU about forcing mandatory vaccines in exchange for your passport, your driver's license, perhaps even access to your health care. And people, I've been saying this for at least 10 years now, that when they said, oh, how could they possibly enforce those mandates? That's how they could do it. Even here in the United States, your passport, driver's license renewal, access to your insurance, Medicare, Medicaid benefits. Now, just to be clear, none of that is happening yet here in the US. But the groundwork is being laid internationally, and that's why we need your support. That's why we need everybody here to like and share this article. Go to Vaxxter.com, sign up for our email list. This blog that I just gave you all this information is on the homepage of Vaxxter that will be going out in our email list today. It's available on the blog. I put the link to it right here, right below here on this Facebook Live. Like and share it. This is breaking international news that everybody needs to know about, irrespective of the fact that we're just 1 week away from Christmas. And after the first of the year, I'm going to get really disciplined about doing Facebook Lives on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. And we're going to continue the conversation. We need you to support Vaxxter, and we need you to go to masteringvaccineinfo.com and get ready to sign up for the next boot camp training. Because of some personal difficulties with family health and things like that that have been on Matt's plate in the last couple of months, we're moving out the boot camp by a month. We're actually going to start the enrollment at the end of February, and the boot camp will be March and April, where we can give better time, better quality teaching and education to you. But for now, just all you need to do is go to Mastering Vaccine Info, get on our early announcement list. You'll be hearing a lot more about this after the first of the year. This is extremely important breaking news. You need to make comments below. The more comments that you put below, the more Facebook will boost us up to the top, because everybody's being censored. Green Med Info is being censored. National Vaccine Information Center is being censored. Mercola is being censored. We're being censored at Baxter, so we need your help. So for now, this morning, thank you for all being here. I know this was spontaneous, but it's really super important news. And I want to wish you guys a great week. I'll be back here tomorrow morning around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another important international update. So for now, be safe, be well, like and share, sign up for our email list, and sign up for the bootcamp waiting list. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care.